Hi, students and friends. This is your host and teacher Savyadayal Vidyanathan. You're watching Learn and Teach by Sarayas. So I'm continuing my O-level past papers session. This time I have selected variant 12 of 5070. It's of October-November 2024. It's paper one multiple choice. Total time for this paper is 1 hour. There are 40 questions in this paper. So 40 marks. Your table is printed in the question paper. You can use calculator in this paper. So let's start the paper. Here's question number 1. Helium gas and argon gas are mixed in a closed container at room temperature and pressure, that is RTP. What happens when the two gases are in the container? A argon and helium atoms become evenly mixed throughout the container, even though they have different masses. This looks correct to me. For your convenience, I'm reading the other statements also. The argon and helium atoms both move towards the bottom of the container. The argon atoms settle more quickly because they are larger and heavier. This is incorrect because they are gases. They won't settle down. They will move around. See, argon and helium atoms both move towards the bottom of the container. The helium atoms settle more quickly. Again, it's strong. It's not going to settle. The argon atoms move to the bottom of the container because they are heavier. Helium atoms move to the top of them because they are lighter. This is wrong. They will evenly mix in this container, and this must be the right answer for MCQ number 1. MCQ number 2. Substance X has a simple molecular structure and substance Y has a giant covalent structure. Which row is correct? Now we have in the choices for X, if they are saying X is a simple molecular structure, you can either have element or element and a compound. So either C or D is correct. A and B is correct. We have examples of simple molecular structures for elements as well as compounds. So either C is correct or D is correct. Both A and B is incorrect. What about Y? And Y, it's a giant covalent structure. Definitely, again, we are having some examples of element or compound. For element, you have diamond, graphite, and compound, you have silicon dioxide. So D must be the right choice in this case. Secret number 3. The diagram shows an atom of element Z. Here's a diagram. In this diagram, we have protons, 15 neutrons, and electrons are shown. Number of protons are missing. Which symbol for element Z is correct? So in order to calculate the number of protons, you should know the number of electrons because it's an atom. So the number of protons should be equal to the number of electrons. So electrons are 2 plus 8 plus 3. So there will be 13 electrons in this case. So protons must be 13. So either B is correct or C is correct. A and D is correct. What about nucleon number? It's simple. You can see the number of nucleon number. In order to calculate the nucleon number, you should know the number of neutrons and protons. If you add up these two, 13 plus 15, what you will get 28. C must be the right choice in this case. Moving to next MCQ, which is number 4. A sample of element Q contains 2 isotopes. The diagram shows the relative abundances and relative masses of the 2 isotopes. What is the relative atomic mass AR of this sample of Q? Okay, the relative mass given as well as its relative abundance for 20. So 1 and for 22 we have 5. So if I will calculate this, we have 1 plus 5, which means 6. So 1 multiplied by 20 plus 22 multiplied by 5 and divided by 6. So 1 multiplied by 20 is 20 plus 22 multiplied by 5. 110. 110 plus 20 means 130. 130 divided by 6. 21.666. So D must be the right answer in this case. Move to next MCQ, which is number 5. Which statement about electrical conductivity is correct? A, covalent compounds such as glucose conduct when molten or dissolved in water. This is incorrect. Glucose does not conduct electricity. B, dilute acids such as sulfuric acid conduct because all the ions are free to move. This statement looks correct to me because the conduction of electricity due to the presence of these three ions in aqueous sulfuric acid. What about C? Ionic compounds such as sodium chloride conduct due to movement of electrons. This is incorrect. In ionic compounds, the conduction of electricity is due to the movement of ions, not electrons. So this is incorrect. What about D? Metals such as copper conduct due to the movement of positive ions. This is also incorrect. Electricity conduction of electricity in copper is due to free electrons, not ions. So this is also incorrect. So B must be the right response in this case. Next MCQ, which is number 6. Which substance is not malleable and conducts electricity by the movement of electrons through a lattice of atoms? This one is very easy. C must be the right answer. The reason is that we have sodium chloride conducts electricity, gold conduct electricity, graphite also conduct electricity. Solid sodium chloride does not conduct electricity. So aqueous sodium chloride conduct electricity due to the movement of ions, not electrons. Gold due to the movement of electrons, but it is malleable also. Due to ions, this one is malleable. And this one is non-malleable and conduct because of free electrons. So C must be the right answer in this case. Move to next MCQ, which is number 7. What is the relative molecular mass MR of ethene? So what is the formula of ethene? It's an alkene. Recall the general formula of alkene, CnH2n. We have two atoms in case of ethene. So C2H4, which means we have two atoms of C and four atoms of hydrogen. So this must be the right statement. Twice the AR of C plus 4 times the AR of H. C must be the right answer in this case. Other choices are incorrect. 8. What is the relative molecular mass MR of N2O? When you need to calculate the MR of N2O, you need to know the AR of nitrogen and oxygen. Here is nitrogen 14, oxygen 16. So there are two nitrogen. So 2 multiplied by 14 plus we have one atom of oxygen, 1 multiplied by 16. So you will get 2 multiplied by 14, 28, 28 plus 16, 6 plus 8, 14. So C must be the right answer in this case. Question number 9. Which contains the greatest mass of oxygen? So in this question, simply you have to calculate the number of moles of oxygen for each of these compounds. The higher the number of moles means the greater the mass of oxygen will be. So the number of moles of oxygen in case of aluminum nitrate AlNO3 whole thrice, we have 3 multiplied by 3 will 9. 9 moles in 1 mole of AlNO3 whole thrice in 0.2 multiplied by 9. It gives 1.8 moles. What about K2SO4? We have 4 moles of oxygen K2SO4 in 0.3. We'll have 0.3 multiplied by 4 equal to 1.2 moles. What about NaNO3? Again, now this time you have to multiply 0.4 by 3, 1.2 moles. For D, we multiply 0.5 by 3 and we get 1.5 more. So obviously choice A is the right answer as there are high number of moles in AlNO3 whole thrice. So the mass will be higher in this case. Number 10. Compound Z contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. Compound Z contains 48.65% carbon and 8.11% hydrogen by mass. What is the empirical formula of Z? Now, this compound contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The mass percentage of oxygen is missing here. So, for carbon, we have 48.65%. For hydrogen, it's 8.11%. For oxygen, now to find the percentage of oxygen, you need to subtract these percentages from 100. 100 minus 8.11 gives 91.89. 91.89 minus 48.65. So we have 43.24% of oxygen. So in the first step, you need to divide it by the AR of each of these elements. For hydrogen, you know that's 1. Carbon, here's carbon, it's 12. Oxygen, it's 16. For carbon, I will divide it by 12. For oxygen, I will divide it by 16. So for carbon, 48.65 divided by 12 will get 4.054. 4.054. For hydrogen, we will get the same answer, that is 8.11. For oxygen, 43.24. 43.24 divided by 16, 2.7025. 2.702. Okay, now you have to divide all these values by the smallest number, which is 2.702. 2.702. So oxygen obviously becomes 1. What about carbon? 4.054 divided by 2.702, 1.5. 0. For hydrogen, 8.11 divided by 2.702, it becomes 3. So we need to multiply the number to get the answer in whole number. So if I will multiply by 2, I will get 3 for carbon and 2 3 is 6 for hydrogen and 2 for oxygen. So C3H6O2. C3H6O2. B must be the right answer in this case. 11. Which fertilizer contains the highest percentage by mass of nitrogen? Now we need to calculate the percentage by mass of nitrogen in these fertilizers. MR of these fertilizers is given. So for NH4NO3, there are two N atoms. You know the AR of N, it's 14. Here is N. AR is 14. So here I will multiply 14 by 2, multiply by 100 and divided by MR. So 2800 divided by 80, 35% for NaNO3, NH4NO3. For NH4 whole thrice PO4, we need to multiply 14 by 3, then multiply it by 100 and divided by 149. So 14 into 3 into 100 divided by 149. 28.187. 28.187. What about NH4 whole twice SO4? Again, we are having two atoms of nitrogen. So definitely it becomes 14 multiplied by 2, 28. 2800 divided by MR of NH4 whole twice SO4 is given, which is 32. 132. 132. Percentage will be 21.212. 21.212. Now for NH2 whole to CO. Again, we are having two atoms of nitrogen, so it will be 28. 28 multiplied by 100, 2800, and divided by MR of NH2 whole twice CO, which is 60. So it's 46.6. So obviously D must be the right answer for MCQ number 11. Number 12, an electrolytic cell is shown. Which statement is correct? Here we are having an electrolytic cell. Electrolyte is dilute sulfuric acid, so electrodes are made up of platinum. A, electrons move from the cathode to the anode in the external circuit. This is incorrect because electron moves from anode to cathode. B, hydrogen ions gain electrons at the anode. This is also incorrect because hydrogen ion gain electrons at cathode, not at anode. C, in the electrolyte, positive ions move to the cathode and negative ions move to the anode. This statement looks correct to me. For your convenience, I am reading the last statement. The hydroxide ions in the electrolyte move to the cathode. This is wrong, moves towards anode. So C must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 13. An aqueous mixture of copper 2 nitrate and silver nitrate is electrolyzed with pure copper electrodes. Which ionic half equation describes the change occurring at the anode? So we have active electrode. There will be loss of cations. That is copper 2 plus ion in the electrolyte mixture. That is copper ions will deposit at cathode. That is gain electrons. The population of the copper 2 plus ion decrease in the solution. In order to compensate the loss of copper 2 plus ions, the anode will dissolve. That is, it will produce Cu2 plus ion in the solution. So A must be the right response in this case. Other responses are incorrect. 14. What is a disadvantage of using a hydrogen oxygen fuel cell to power a car? A, gasoline petrol is a non-renewable resource. Gasoline and petroleum is not used in hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. This is incorrect. B, the hydrogen tank may split in an accident leading to an explosion. This is correct because hydrogen is highly explosive gas. It will definitely explode during accident. For your convenience, I am reading the other statements. C, the product of the reaction between oxygen and hydrogen is toxic. This is incorrect because the product is water, which is not toxic. So pure water, it's not toxic. D, oxygen is obtained from air. This is not disadvantage. This is advantage of getting oxygen from the air. So this is also incorrect. So B must be the right answer in this case. When chemical reaction X takes place, thermal energy is given out. It means it's an exothermic. Which row is correct for this reaction? So it's either C is correct or D is correct. Both A and B is incorrect because in A, B, they have mentioned endothermic reaction, but the reaction is exothermal. So let's look at the explanation. More energy is required to break the bonds then the energy release. This is incorrect. This is true for endothermic. It's incorrect. So obviously D must be the right answer. I'm reading the statement. Less energy is required to break the bonds than the energy released when the bonds are formed. This is the correct statement. 16. Which statement about a physical change is correct? A physical change is impossible to reverse. This is incorrect because it can be reversed. B. In a physical change, the appearance of the substance may change. This is correct. This looks correct to me because the appearance of the substance may change during a physical change. Definitely. For convenience, I'm reading the other statements. C. New substance are formed in physical change. This is wrong because new substance are formed during chemical change, not physical change. By the way, they are asking statement about physical change. So obviously, this is incorrect. D. There is no energy release or taken in during a physical change. There may be energy change during a physical change. So this is also incorrect. B must be the right answer in this case. Gas P decomposes to form gas Q. So here's the reaction equation. X moles of gas P gives Y moles of gas Q. Two experiments are done to investigate the rate of reaction. The conditions are the same except that two different temperatures T1 and T2 are used. The results are plotted on graphs drawn to the same scale. Which row is correct? Okay, so here we are. Now let's see the number of moles of P and Q. So if I will consider these as the scale as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For P, so for P, the X must be 6. What about Q? 6, 7, 8, 9. So for Q, Y must be 9. So if you look at these values, these can be simplified. Divide these by 3 on both sides. So X must be 2 and Y must be 3. So either A is correct or B is correct. Both C and D is incorrect. Now I've narrowed down the choices. This makes it easier for me to choose the right answer. If you look at the temperature T1 and T2, T1 must be the higher temperatures compared to T2. So A must be the right choice here. B can't be the right answer in this case. Next MCQ, which is 80. Samples of nitrogen and hydrogen are reacted and allowed to reach equilibrium. The equation is shown. Here's the reaction equation between nitrogen and hydrogen gas to produce 2 moles of ammonia gas. It's an exothermic reaction. If you look at the sign of delta H, it's minus, which means that's exothermic. The temperature is increased and a new equilibrium is established. Which statement about the new equilibrium is correct? Now, if you raise the temperature for this equilibrium, it will move to the endothermic side. So the backward direction must be endothermic. If the forward is exothermic, backward must be endothermic. So equilibrium will definitely shift to the left-hand side. This is left-hand side. This one is right-hand side. A, the amount of product increases. This must be incorrect. The amount of product will not increase. The amount of product decreases. This one is correct because the equilibrium will shift to the left-hand side, which means the amount of product decreases. For your convenience, I am checking the other statements also. The rate of the forward reaction is greater than the rate of the reverse reaction. This is incorrect. The rate of forward reaction is less than the rate of reverse reaction. This is also incorrect. Because if you increase the temperature, this will increase the rate in both directions. Increases in both directions, not only in one direction. So the equilibrium will shift to the reactant side, that is left-hand side. So B must be the right answer in this case. Moving to next MCQ, which is 19. In the diagram, R represents one of the reactions in the contact process. We have gas Z, it's reacted with oxygen, and we are getting R, which is converted into products. R is one of the reactions in the contact process. Which statement is correct? A, gas Z is SO2. This looks correct to me. For your convenience, I'm checking the other statements also. B, in iron catalyst speeds up the reaction. This is incorrect because iron is not used as catalyst. Vanadium 5 oxide is used. C, in R, the pressure is approximately 200 atm. This is also incorrect because pressure will be 2 atm. D, in R, the temperature is approximately 445 degrees centigrade. This is also incorrect. Temperature is 450 degrees centigrade. A must be the right answer in this case. Moving to next MCQ. 20. Peroxide disulfate ions S2O8 2- react with iron 2 ions Fe2 plus. Here's the reaction equation. Look at the change in the oxidation number of state of iron 2 ions. It is actually increasing from +2 to +3. The only elements that are either oxidized or reduced in this reaction are sulfur and iron. This is the information they're giving us, that the only elements that are oxidized or reduced in the reaction is sulfur and iron, which means the oxidation state of oxygen does not change on either side of the equation. Which row is correct? The element that is reduced. First of all, let me check which of these elements will reduce. There's for sure that iron is not reduced, it's oxidized. If it's oxidized, then it means sulfur must be the one which is reduced. So A and B is correct. Either C is correct or D is correct. Now I've narrowed down the choice. Now, what about the behavior of S2O8 2- ion? If it is reduced, it means it must be acting as oxidizing agent. So C must be the right answer in this case. D is incorrect. MCQ number 21. Which solid reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid to produce a gas? Now they are saying which solid reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid. Copper does not react, carbon does not react, so A and B is correct. Either C is correct or D is correct. Both magnesium oxide and sodium carbonate will react. But there's one more information given in this question. They are saying to produce a gas. So sodium carbonate is a metal carbonate. When it's reacted with acid, it will definitely produce a gas. which will be carbon dioxide in this case. So D must be the right choice in this case. 22. Which 1 mole per dm cube aqueous solution has the highest pH? Highest pH means it must be alkaline. It's not acidic. So omit the choices in which you can see acid. A and D both are incorrect. You can't have A and D as your correct. Either B is correct or C is correct. Sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is a salt, which means it gives neutral solution. Neutral solution means pH will be neutral pH. So C must be the right answer here. Sodium hydroxide, it's an alkali. In fact, it's a strong alkali, so it will give highest pH. The pH value will rise with sodium hydroxide. 23. Oxide Q reacts with separate samples of dilute hydrochloric acid and aqueous potassium hydroxide. Both reactions produce a salt and water. Which statement is correct? Now, in both the reaction, what they are saying, we have oxide Q, it's reacting with acid as well as potassium hydroxide, and it's producing salt and water. So it must be amphoteric. It must be amphoteric as it is reacting with both acid and alkali. So B must be the right answer. In this case, no need to look at the other choices. All the choices are incorrect. Moving to MCQ number 24. The table shows 4 methods used to prepare pure salts, which row shows a method of making a pure sample of each named salt. Okay, can we make copper 2 sulfate from acid and carbonate? Yes, it's correct. Can we make sodium sulfate? This is also correct. We can also make potassium chloride. We can also make potassium sulfate. What about acid plus metal? You can't get copper 2 sulfate from the method acid plus metal. This is incorrect. This one is also incorrect because sodium is a highly reactive metal. So it will react with everything and you will get a mixture of products. You will go for more reactive metal in this case. So it seems that B, C, D are incorrect. For your convenience, I am checking the other details, that is for precipitation and titration. Silver chloride, yes, we can make silver chloride through precipitation method because it's insoluble. What about sodium chloride? Yes, we can make sodium chloride through titration method. So A must be the right answer in this case. Moving to MCQ number 25. Which property determines the order of the elements in the periodic table? The masses of their atoms? No, wrong. B, the number of electron outer shell? No. C, the number of neutrons in the nucleus? No, this is wrong. The number of protons in the nucleus? This is correct. They are the number of protons, which it determines the order in which the elements are placed in the periodic table. So D must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 26. Which statement explains why helium and neon are unreactive? Now, where is helium neon? It's group 8 element. We have helium and neon. Both of these, in fact, group 8 elements, they all are unreactive. They are having complete valence shell or stable arrangement of electrons. So look at these statements. You have only one statement, the correct one, which is D here. They both have all their occupied electron shells completely filled. So this must be the right statement. Other statements are incorrect. Moving to next MCQ. Substance X conducts electricity in the solid state. Substance X is malleable. So from this information, I can deduce that substance X must be a metal, as it conducts electricity in the solid state and it's malleable also. Which statement is correct? A, X conducts electricity by the movement of electrons between layers of negative ions? No. It will conduct electricity by the movement of electrons, but it's not between the layer of negative ions, it's positive ions. So A is incorrect. What about B? X conducts electricity by the movement of positive ions. This is incorrect. Conducts due to electricity due to the movement of electrons, not positive ions, not any ions involved in this. So this is also incorrect. C. X has a giant lattice of positive ions, a sea of delocalized electrons. This must be correct. For a convenience, I'm reading the last statement. X has layers of atoms with delocalized electrons between the layers. No, it has layers of cations of positive ions, not atoms. This is incorrect. MCQ number 28. Aluminium and copper are good conductors of electricity. Why is aluminium used in overhead electrical cables instead of copper? So the reason simply is that aluminium has lower density than copper, or it is lighter than copper. So B must be the right answer in this case. All the other choices are incorrect. 29. Oxide of Z is reduced by heating with carbons. What is Z? This one is highly reactive. We can't have B and C. We are left with A and D. A, its aluminum is more reactive than zinc. It undergo electrolytic reduction method. You can't reduce it by using any reducing agent. So it seems D must be the right answer for 29. 30. A metal ore contains an oxide MO. Metal M forms colored compounds. When a piece of iron is placed into a solution containing aqueous M2 plus ions, M is displaced. Which row is correct? That's for sure that M is less reactive than iron, because when we are adding a piece of iron in the solution containing a salt of M or M2 plus ion, it will get displaced. So iron, Fe is the symbol for iron. Iron is more reactive than M. So what about the position of M? So if you recall the series, reactivity series, this is small part of the series. So one of the metals, X can be one of these, either Cu, Ag, or Au. Cu, Ag, or Au. Now, what about the density of M? Will it be higher than iron? Let's look at the AR of iron, 56. Copper, 64, it's higher. What about silver? It's also higher. Gold is also higher. So that's for sure that density of M must be high. So either A is correct or B is correct. C and D is incorrect. Now I've narrowed down the choices. Let's check the possible method of extraction of M from MO. You can extract it by electrolysis or heating with carbon. So B must be the right answer in this case. You can get the M from its compound by using reducing agent like carbon. So B must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 31. Iron can be extracted from the ore hematite. What is the maximum mass of iron that is produced from 500 kilogram of hematite? So recall the equation of extraction of iron from hematite. Hematite is Fe2O3. We have Fe2O3. It's reacted with 3 moles of CO to give 2 moles of iron and 3 moles of carbon dioxide. We are concerned with this. So we have 1 mole of iron trioxide and 2 moles of iron. So let's express the mass in kilograms for each of these moles. For Fe2O3, we have 2 atoms of Fe. So 2 will be multiplied by 56 for iron, plus 3 will be multiplied by the AR of oxygen, which is 16 in this case. So 2 multiplied by 56, 112, plus 3 multiplied by 16, 48. So it must be 8, 9, 10, 160. So 160 is Fe2O3 to Fe. 160 kg gives 2 Fe means 112 kg of iron. Therefore, 500 kg gives X kg of iron. 112 into 500 divided by 160. So answer is 350. C must be the right answer in this case. 32. Which row describes an advantage and a disadvantage of fertilizers? So in this case, either C is correct or D is correct. Both A and B is incorrect because for the advantage of fertilizer, it's not responsible for deoxygenation of water. It's not advantage. Improved plant growth, it's advantage. Now for the disadvantage, it's involved damage to aquatic life. Yes, it is involved in damaging the aquatic life because the fertilizer increases the growth of algae or seaweeds, which is responsible for depletion of oxygen in the aquatic system, which results in the death of the whole ecosystem. So C must be the right answer in this case. D is incorrect. Into next MCQ, which is number 33. Which row about the adverse effects of air pollutants is correct? So for methane, is it involved in increased global warming? Yes. Is it involved in causing cancer? No. So B must be incorrect. Is it involved in causing respiratory problem? No. So this is either A is correct or C is correct. Now let's look at the other details. That is oxides of nitrogen. They are responsible for respiratory problem. Yes, this is correct. Particulate, they are responsible for cancer. So A seems to be the right answer. In this case, C is incorrect. Because oxides of nitrogen, they are not responsible for causing cancer. And particulates, they are not responsible for causing respiratory problems. 34. How many different unbranched esters have the molecular formula C4H8O2? We need to draw the condensed or structure formula of these esters from this formula. Remember, esters must have COO in them. So I will start this CH3, CH2, CO2, CH3. This is one of the unbranched ester. Second possibility, we have CH3, CO2, CH2, CH3. Third possibility, we have HCO2, CH2, CH2, CH3. So C must be the right answer. In this case, there are 3 possibilities, 1, 2, 3 for these unbranched esters with this molecular formula. 35. Petroleum is separated into a fractionating column. Which statements are correct? The compounds at the top of the column are more volatile than and have lower boiling points. This statement is correct. If one is correct, so A, B, and C, they all are correct. D is incorrect. Now let's see the other statements. 2. The compounds at the bottom of the column are more viscous. This is also correct. 3. The chain length of the molecules at the bottom of the columns are shorter. This one is incorrect. So B must be the right answer in this case, because the molecules at the bottom, they don't have shorter chain, they have longer chain. So B must be the right answer in this case. Move to next MCQ. Just 36. Which statement about hydrocarbons is correct? A. Alkenes are unsaturated, which means that they are less soluble in water than alkanes. Alkanes are also less soluble in water. So alkenes, they are unsaturated. This doesn't mean that they are less soluble in water. It doesn't make any sense here. Unsaturation is related to the presence of carbon-carbon double bond. It's not responsible or dictate the solubility of the compound. Presence of carbon double bonds. Choice B, incorrect. Alkenes contain a higher percentage by mass of carbon than alkanes. This statement looks correct to me. In order to understand this, let's take an example of one member from alkene and one member from alkane with the same number of carbon atom. Alkene, recall the general formula. CnH2n. If n is 2, it must be C2H4. So alkane, general formula is CnH2n plus 2. So if n is 2 here, so C2H6. So MR of C2H4, you know the air of carbon, which is 12. So 2 multiplied by 12 plus 4, which gives 24 plus 4, 28. Calculate the percentage of carbon here. 24 multiplied by 100 divided by 28. 85.71. What about C2H6? MR of C2H6, there are 2 carbon atoms, so 2 will be multiplied by 12, which is AR of carbon, plus 1 multiplied by 6, 6. We get 24 plus 6 is 30. Now, this time I need to multiply 24 by 100 and divide it by 30. If you want, you can do the find the percentage, but it's clear from this that the percentage of carbon must be lower in this case. But for your convenience, I'm doing this 80%. If you look at the difference, that the percentage of carbon is less than in alkenes. So this must be the right answer in this case. For your convenience, I'm reading the other statements. Cracking large alkanes produce only small alkanes. This is incorrect. You will get smaller alkanes, not alkanes, and hydrogen. If hydrogens produce, you will get alkenes, not alkanes. This is incorrect. B. The presence of a double bond in alkene means that 1 mole of alkene will react with exactly 80 grams of bromine. Here's bromine. AR of bromine is 80, which means Br2 must have 2 multiplied by 80, 160. 61. This is also incorrect. B is the right answer in this case. MCQ number 37. 2 statements are shown. When ethanol is made from glucose by fermentation, each glucose molecule produces 2 molecules of ethanol. So is this statement correct? Yes, this statement is correct, because we are making ethanol from glucose. This is a formula of glucose, C6H12O6. We will get 2 moles of ethanol. This statement is correct. two moles or two molecules of ethanol. Two, when ethanoic acid is made from ethanol, the ethanol acts as a reducing. It's correct because it reduces the other reagent and oxidizes itself. So this is also correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are true. So here's the right answer in this case. 38. In a titration, a 25 centimeter cube sample of 0.1 mole per dm sodium hydroxide is exactly neutralized by 16.2 centimeter cube of dilute sulfuric acid. The equation for the reaction is shown. H2SO4 plus 2 NaOH gives Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. What is the concentration of the dilute sulfuric acid? So let's consider the number of moles of sulfuric acid as N1. For NaOH, it's N2. So N1 is 1, N2 is 2 for NaOH. For volume of sulfuric acid, V1. For volume of NaOH, V2. Volume of sulfuric acid is given. Yes, it's given. It's 16.2. What about sodium hydroxide? NaOH, it's also given 25. M1. M1 is the concentration of sulfuric acid. They want us to calculate. M2 is given, which is the concentration of sodium hydroxide. It's 0.1 mole per dm cube. Use this formula. M1 V1 by N1 is equal to M2 V2 by N2. Rearrange the equation, you will get this. M1 is equal to M2 V2 multiplied by N1 divided by N2 multiplied by V1. Placing the values, M2 is 0.1 multiplied by V2. V2 is 25. N1 is 1. N2 is 2. V1 is 16.2. 0.1 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 1 divided by 2 divided by 16.2. 0.077. So B must be the 0.077. So B must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 39. Three liquids X, Y, and Z are tested, and the results are shown. We have added anhydrous cobalt to chloride. So X turning blue to pink, Y no change, Z blue to pink. Boiling point is given for X, Y, and Z. What may we deduce about X, Y, and Z from this information? X must be pure water, that's for sure. It must be pure water. The boiling point is shown as well as the color change. The color change, it will turn blue to pink. That is anhydrous cobalt to chloride will turn to hydrated cobalt to chloride. So either C is correct or D is correct. Both A and B is incorrect. What about Y? That's for sure Y is not water. Z is impure water. You see the boiling point. Boiling point is higher than 100 degrees centigrade. So D must be the right answer in this case. No need to check C. D must be the right answer. 40. Compound Q is soluble in water. Solution of Q gives a white precipitate when dilute sulfuric acid is added. When Q is warmed with aqueous sodium hydroxide and aluminum foil, gas is produced, which turns damp red litmus paper blue. It must be due to the presence of nitrate ion and both. And the solution is giving white precipitate with dilute sulfuric acid. So it must be having barium ion, Ba+2 ion. So it must be barium nitrate. All the other choices are incorrect. Thanks for watching. Press like and share my videos. For more videos, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon.